with, of course, CJ versus Sengoku, and now it has come to this point where if CJ were to lose this, it is tie break or third place. They will be losing that second place berth, and it's kind of against the head given the form of the last few weeks. Super Week going very well for CJ, potentially not going so well for DFM as well. Guys, first look at this matchup. How are you feeling about the stakes coming into this? Why is this game so important to these teams?
I mean, this is top seed, and this is gauntlet match. This is like what's worth playing for. Between it's great for going between first and second. Like obviously, top seeding, pick selection, very important. But not having to play round one is such a big thing. Also, if you lose the gauntlet match, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because you still drop down. You go to round 3. You still have a chance to go into final. So huge. Literally game changing. Yep. You want to put all your marbles in these games.
Potentially means that you get that extra best of 5 versus that one team as well. You know, if they lose, they win again.
And again, for CGA as well, they had a chance to secure that spot with a win over DFM, right? Like, they could have got themselves significantly better space. They lost that one, and now they have this head-to-head. They've already got 1-0 over Sengoku Gaming, I believe.
They do.
This is now a must-win. If they lose this, they are down to third. There is no way, ins, afs, or buts about it. It needs to happen now, or they are down to third.
And so, with that on the line, of course, we have to look back to CGA. Losing to Axis, now losing to DFM. Big thing about that last game, the big takeaway from me is that if you just draft into Arya and then punish him and you're coordinated as a team, doesn't matter how good at team fighting they are, potentially they do fall apart. We've seen that in various different ways. Make sure he does pick something bad into the draft. Sengoku, are a team that have a very strong mid-jungle 2v2. Is this the lane that you guys are watching, or do you think that Sengoku got something else in the tank? Are they going to take the game elsewhere?
I mean, personally, when they last fought, it was an absolute bloodbath of a 42-minute fiesta that we witnessed.
Man.
Like, there's no other way to phrase it. It was an absolute fiesta, and it went
all you over... again, Maswad. How do we end up with this game?
I don't know. I feel like Nymera does this on purpose every time to make us cast the absolute worst games that might throw our voices through an absolute train wreck of things, but thankfully you're the play-by-play and I'm just the color, so I can just have witty remarks after your voice.
Exactly. Wait until the next CJ Burning Core matchup comes around, which may actually be a round 1 contention playoff match. Were they to lose this match or lose a tiebreaker, which would put them down into third, depending on the results from the rest of today. We can start waxing about those in a bit, though.
Yeah, to answer your question, Nymera, fiesta. It's going to be a fiesta, regardless.
We have the spinning wheel, and it goes wherever the lane it lands on is. Sam, Sengoku.
Hello.
Yes. We haven't talked about the game against V3. Very impressive. Do you think that they can also pull that out against CJ? Have they convinced you enough? I know we were talking about predictions in the last game. We said, yeah, DFM, they haven't convinced us enough yet. The confidence isn't there. Is it there for you for Sengoku?
I think we have seen in the last week or two the real strengths of Sengoku as well as some of their lose conditions. Their strengths being that if they can get a stable map state, their mid-jungle 2v2 can really wrestle control of the map away from the enemy. There are some lose conditions, though, and if that mid-jungle 2v2 ever ends up being put behind, particularly Pyrian, Sengoku Gaming collapse from the middle outwards really fast. So I've got confidence, but I'm also aware that there's a team that could punish a mid 2v2 in the league, potentially see.
So things to be watching out for in all of this. Of course, we are still on patch 10.14, which means that there will be none of those adaptations to the patch coming through. Lots of changes coming up on the next ones. And obviously that was something which affected Sengoku pretty largely in the last playoffs, going between that huge break, having that huge patch jump. Sengoku, though, before that, looked very, very confident, having spent a lot of time on the same patch, getting to solve their own way to play the meta. Lexi, I'm going to go to you for this. How comfortable have Sengoku looked to you in recent weeks? Because obviously we had that break coming into playoff and coming into Super Week, rather. Do you think this is Sengoku looking very strong because they've been very comfortable, or is it something else?
Sengoku look flippant at the moment. Sometimes they decide to wake up on the right side of the bed and they could probably beat anyone, including V3. sometimes they wake up on the opposite side of the bed and they can lose to Axis and Burning Core. I believe it was Burning Core, or was it the Hawks they beat or they lost to? Which way around was that initialized? Covering? Oh, it was the Hawks. They lost to the Hawks. They can play like absolute some of the best players in the region, and on the opposite end they can play like potatoes. And I feel like the term Appamen things has never been truer than now, but now it's just Sengoku things, because the whole team have embraced it in my eyes.
Well, just Sengoku things. I'm going to lastly visit you both for predictions. Who's taking it, you two?
I'm going to go with Sengoku, if only because I was very unimpressed with CJ in the last game, and I think drafting-wise, Sengoku Gaming can do a similar.
I'm going to side with Initialize here. Sengoku, they're coming in cold, but they're coming in at least not on a horrendous game like CGA, who are going to be licking wounds, probably yelling at themselves because they're like, what did we just do for a whole game of 24 minutes, 28 minutes or something? Like, I don't know, man.
Let's have a look.
I watched it. Both of DFM's games were quick, so I mean,
it was 23:35.
Oh, the other one was 28 minutes. My apologies. Even worse for CGA. Yeah, Sengoku.
Yeah, Sengoku from the both of you. I myself, I think I'd have to say no. I think I'd have to say the same thing. CGA have shown that they can be out-team fought against in something which we rarely say, and Sengoku may well be looking to reprise DFM's performance against CGA. Well, with all things said and done, it's time I leave you two to cast this game and move on over to the VOD. We're going to have to do a bit of janking around to make sure that we are all in time. So if you are ready with fingers on the play button, lads, if you're ready to go in 3...
You get to say the line. You get to say the line.
It is a blast from the past. In 3, 2... 1, here we go.
Thank you so much, Nymera. It is a pleasure to be back and casting with Mass Swan. Good to have you on the desk, sir. And indeed it is. But we got Crest Gaming at versus Sengoku Gaming to talk about. It'll be Sengoku's first time on the Rift. They'll be on red side, but it is CGA reprising their role on the blue. And it is Nap, Unica, Aria, Gango, and Grendel that is still making up their roster.
Yeah, that's not surprising. And for Sengoku, it's still Appamen, still Blank, still Pyrian, still Yutori Muashi, and still NT. It's amazing. These players don't change very often. It's kind of a good thing.
Right, okay, so we're looking here as a blue side Karma ban. Once again, Lexi, I can feel the apoplectic rage from Nymera somewhere in the distance. Lee Sin and Bard are other bands there. That obviously Enti is a fantastic Bard, and Blank is pretty famous for his Lee Sin. The other side, though, it's double AD carry bands and that TF, which is so damn strong in the current meta. CGA with first pick.
I think Sengoku's most banned against champion is the Twisted Fate, so they're just like, well, we never get to play him, so we're banning the Twisted Fate without realizing that Aria's not played a game of Twisted Fate, and I guess they just don't want to have him have just an extra champion in the champ pool. I guess.
Karma ban is out. I guess they don't want to ever have that potential of having Aria on the Karma. I can see that. It's like, no, we want last pick and priority and power for our mid laners, so it must be banned away. CJ, go towards the Ashe. Gango has absolutely destroyed people on this pick in the past. Look back to their game versus the Hawks last week where he got 51% of the damage for his team. He absolutely crushed it on that champion in lane and later on as well. Sengoku respond with the set. Got another pick to go with. Thinking about the Jhin has been Yutori's counter into the Ashe of recent.
Yeah, it's one of his most played champions, or soon climbing up to be one of his most played champions. This split alone, purely because so many people are playing Ashe, and he really likes the matchup into it. I'm also kind of expecting this set to probably go either mid or support. We haven't actually seen it out of Blank yet, and it's not really a champion I'd expect out of him. Appamen just doesn't seem to play set, so I wouldn't assume it would be from him. So we've already seen a game from Pyrian on the set, so it could be Flex there. Or obviously we've seen multitude of set support, so that's the other place I can see it to be going.
Cool. I can see Jhin set is a fair amount of setup. If Jhin manages to get the root set, can run behind and get a pretty free showstopper down. Response from CGO, though, is Echo and Graves. So it will be Unica on his really favored Graves. That's pretty good on that champion. And Aria's Echo, which hasn't got the highest win rate, but has looked pretty stylish in the games he has picked it. I'm remembering back to a game in spring where he tried his damn hardest versus DFM, but couldn't find the late game team fights, having to chrono break a little early in those ones. But definitely knows his way around that champ.
Oh, he really does. And I mean, also this Graves coming in, it's Unica's most played jungler. Like, straight up. They are just going for comfort picks. And is this going to be Pyrion bringing out a Silas?
Oh, we've already seen. I'm just aware. This is the LJL.
Yes.
And the LJL has a bit of a thing for Silas jungle. Boogie's pulled it out.
That's true.
Stellar on it. It wasn't good for Hoglet when he pulled it out, but you do rely on this guy Blank, who say his Nidalee KDA was 35. The last time I saw it was pretty absurd. Definitely carry from the jungle role. So there's definitely some good ultimates to steal already. Chrono Break, Collateral Damage, and Enchanted Crystalline Arrow all seem like good things for Silas. So at least on that front feels pretty good. Renekton is currently the ban here.
Yeah, flex pick always great. Renekton coming in. I wouldn't be too surprised if an Ornn is also banned. If they're banning out Nap, just ban his most played champions at the moment, unless you really want to ban something specific that's good against your comp. Currently, you're pretty flexible, so I'd be too surprised if they start indexing super heavily. It does look like that both sides have banned dueling top laners, so potentially the Wukong would be an expected ban from Sengoku here. Especially as also kind of, it's great for exactly. And also Aatrox still hasn't been banned by CGA, so Apperman still has his tried and tested Aatrox still available to him. Leona is going to be the ban though. Interesting.
Grendel had it the last game, and in fairness, found some pretty good solar flares. You know, the 1 or 2 kills they managed to get onto Seros, for example, was off the back of good roams, good solar flares, and they had to spend a lot of other ultimates. But I think Grendel in general looked like he knew his way around that champion. Volibear is the last ban for CGA. We've started to see it pick up wins now in the LJL. It was really struggling over Super Week, but it seems to be back on that bear and understanding how he's played a little better now. And as a result, it's going to be banned away here for CGA. Sengoku Gaming are going to look for their 4th pick, and they've got a little bit of flexibility still in their draft. So we could go to pretty much any role right now aside from AD carry. Thinking about that Nautilus here.
Okay, so if they pick this Nautilus, that means this set is... Okay, are we going to see a first-time Apperman set is the question.
That's a good question. Now. Could still go mid. Could still go mid-top.
Can definitely still go mid. Pyrion can play this Silas in the jungle. And then they still have full access to Apperman. It depends on who they actually really want to give the counter pick to. They already know that Echo is mid, because of the current lineup and everything else, right? So
it's not Season 6. This isn't going to be Tank Echo top.
Oh, I miss those days though. Actually, I liked Tank Echo.
Oh, you're actually disgusting, and I no longer want to cast with you. Production, can I mute Mass Swan? Is there a way I can do that? Because
you can mute me. I'll still be going for it. Don't worry.
Well, they've looked
at gonna get this.
He does.
No, he's got flexibility to pick his favorite champion here.
He's locked it in. Has locked it in. It's going to be the Thresh Wukong of the last couple picks here. That is Ash Thresh bot lane. Nap gets his Wukong. CGA have got a pretty good comfort draft there for themselves. But of course, that leaves Apperman's ultimate comfort of Aatrox available. I'd be thinking about the Mordekaiser as well, which, if you remember, last time these guys faced off against DFM, that Mordekaiser absolutely obliterated them, which I believe was the last time Apperman pulled it out. No pun intended on the cue there. Going to be Apperman looking towards what looks like a Mordekaiser in the top lane versus Wukong again. This is what he loves to do versus this champion.
So now it comes down to far more, where is this Silas going? It looks currently like they're going to have it in the jungle, which I don't think is terrible. I don't mind it. I think also against Echo, I actually would prefer the set in a lot of spots, purely because of your grit, the amount of damage that you can kind of prevent through just setting up with your shield. Everything else, I just think set's a little bit safer versus the Echo. You don't really have kill pressure, but you don't necessarily need to have kill pressure. You just need to not die versus Arya. Granted, this is Pyrion. So now that you are playing this, it makes things very nuanced, I think, in the mid lane matchup, if you would agree with me, just for the sake of it. me.
I think I probably do. I don't, if only because actually Echo is going to struggle to ever have kill pressure versus the set, and that's sometimes what Echo really wants to do. Is like you pick him into things like Syndra, where you could hop some of the stuns and then look to trade onto Syndra, who's like desperately trying to run away. You know, there's a lot of, like, the trades you can just invalidate with Facebreaker, Haymaker. You're a melee champion, squishy melee champion versus set. That can be a bit sad.
Yeah, you do not have the ability to do that. You've got a Mordekaiser in the top lane, so you're just planning to get to the fighting. What I'm going to be interested in, probably also yourself, is how is the Sylas versus Graves jungle matchup? Part of me just assumes Graves just walks in and just starts immediately counter jungling blank.
Yeah,
Sylas had such a weak early game, right?
Yeah, he absolutely can. The last time we saw Sylas picked up was Arya getting an absolute coup in the early game, getting both Scuttle Crabs at level 3, you know, with the first Scuttle Crab spawn, because of some really aggressive pathing that kind of put... The Volibear was looking to clear to level 4. I think it was Hatchamecha on the Volibear. Sylas rushed level 3, got to Scuttles, got both of them, and that pushed him so much further ahead than he should have been, and Sylas should never have had that opportunity. Graves is in a similar space where he can just bully the Sylas early, clears really fast as a carry jungler. I will be curious to see how Blank pulls it off. He's got 2 beefy bruisers in his lanes, which could definitely push the Wukong in early. Echo versus Set. Set can definitely bully that Echo early before he got, you know, level 6 and stuff to be able to get himself out of trouble. So maybe they're thinking, okay, I've got lane pressure in both these lanes. We can push Scuttles, but we'll have to kind of see how it plays out.
We will, definitely. What's interesting is we have got the stats currently. And Sengoku destroy CJ and everything, except for when it comes to the damage per minute. Because let's be real, it's Crest Gaming Act. They want to keep fighting even when they probably definitely shouldn't be, because Sengoku are ahead in every single facet of just
but that's not just ahead. That is massively ahead. That is first for first tower rate. That is first for gold difference at 15. That's over 2,000. That's first experience difference at 15, which is over 2,000. You've got a creep score difference of 51 combined as well. We're just talking about the win lane, win game mentality, the fundamental strength of Sengoku right there. Like, that's pretty absurd, Mass1, actually looking at those stats.
Oh, the more I'm looking at, the more I'm impressed. And now I'm interested to see, where does this go for the rest of the teams, right? Like, where is V3? Where is where's V3? Where is DFM? I want to see the other top teams. Where's Burning Core? We remember Burning Core have historically actually had some pretty decent stats across the board. They are consistently about 3rd in the standings, just in everything. Is there anything here that Sengoku are like hugely just dwarfing Burning Core in? Because I think they're a team that I would put in the baseline. Crest Gaming Act seems to just be so flippant, and I think that's partly because they, as we've discerned on the cast, they are such a coin flip team, right?
They are, and they're also just not all that much about straight laning or early game. They want to hit 10 to 15 minute marks, find an objective and fight around it. They don't actually have that massive a kill and assist rate at 15, because that's not where they're finding their kills. When they finally get to group up, that they start to put things together. Look back to that game versus Sengoku. It is the late game team fights that really pushed CG over the edge in that one, and I wonder whether they've indexed a little bit into this one that way again. You know, they're looking to get a big wombo combo with the Wukong getting into the backline with Graves, Echo, Ashe running wild. Might be a bit of a hard work versus the beef balls of Mordekaiser and Set, though, and the Sylas healing up. Curious to see how this one plays out, man.
Oh, I am as well, as we've just loaded onto the Rift. Sengoku on the red side, CJ on the blue side, and something we didn't mention huge amount. But it might...
Oh, wow. That's an early cleanse out of Utah. I mean, actually got caught by the death sentence there for Grendel. You might have been able to finish your point if it wasn't for Yuta Umehashi being in a very awkward position for a Jhin.
Yeah, that was just horrible. I don't know what he was doing, just so far out of position. I know warding's an important thing, but have backup with you at some point, right? Just gotta have a buddy system. There's always been a buddy system. Your support's meant to be sitting with you. Whatever. Anyway, what was my point? Oh yes. What was my point? Oh yes, I can speak about game. When it comes down to it, CGA do definitely seem to index very heavily on being on the right side, purely for counter pick potential for Arya. Last 2 games, we've seen them on blue side. doesn't seem to go. They don't get the counter pick offers that they normally get. I'm wondering if that's causing some problems for them.
That's not a bad shout, actually. I am tending to agree with you, actually. There's been a couple games now where Arya has not been able to get the pick he necessarily wants. Grendel, though, takes a very hefty trade, probably looking to punish Yutori's lack of cleanse with a good hook, but instead takes a Nautilus hook to the face alongside some Jin bullets, and that's really sad. Unica, though, doing exactly what we asked him to. Immediately gets into Silas's jungle. You can see Silas is on the other side of the map. They knew where he was starting. And Graves managed to get his way in there. Pyrion is roaming up to see whether he can spot out this Graves. Probably looking to put a ward over the back and see whether the blue buff is down. Is going to show that it's down. And that will be the alert ping going out. Silas being pinged out saying, yeah, probably on Wolves right now. There is the hawk shot to spot him out overhead. And Unica is going to be on vision. Will know that he has red buff if they were watching carefully. Kind of curious to see where Blank now paths, knowing that he has been relieved of his red buff.
That's definitely one way to put it. I think he's probably going to just have to eat up the Raptors, then go Golems, and just hope that something else. Ooh, solid attempt by Grendel with these hooks, but ever since the first one, hasn't quite had a return showing. That was a huge Twitter poll also we didn't mention. 69% of the people believe that Sengoku have this as Arya just takes a bunch of damage under his turret.
Does Blank will find his way onto his scuttle, but here is Unica. He's got the red buff advantage. He's got the smoke screen. The smite is secured by Blank, but now he's got to try and find his way out. That's going to be the knock in, and that will be the flash out for Blank. He does escape, but it is going to cost him a summoner. That is always the risk on Silas. You don't have as much early pressure as you'd like, but that does put him 2 camps in the lead. He does secure that Skullcrab, but that now will be a gank in mid. Arya going has got the parallel convergence there, but there is still Haymaker. Flash has to be burned by Pyrion to escape and doesn't use the Haymaker.
Okay, so now that that's all happened, still no kills. We're 4 minutes in initialized. We're 4 minutes in, no kills on the board. I'm frankly rather disappointed from all members of both teams. Well, more CGA.
Shocking,
obviously.
I know.
It's so disappointing. We had to go.
Give me Burning Core in this. Give me CGA Burning Core.
Well, actually, that went rather good for Burning Core last time. So, all right, let's do that. Yeah, I'm all right.
Speaking of going good, though, Apperman trading really heavily onto Nap there. Of course, Mordekaiser definitely has a lot of 1v1 pressure, and we've got not the strongest laner. That's 10 CS, partly, I think, out of that roam down to try and assist Unica on the Scuttle Crab take. That didn't work out, but either way, mid and top lane's going fairly well right now for Sengoku Gaming. Pyrion has dropped a little bit of his CS lead after getting ganked, but Nap does get caught by the Death's Grasp and does escape with the clone, but his health bar is low enough that he is now going to have to retreat even with the biscuit in inventory, and that will give free time for Apperman to just ride beyond the tower. Gets to proxy farm for a little bit.
That's huge. The amount of time that Nap has just not been able to actually recall, go back to lane, heal up, and then buy something. He's lost so much time. He's having to force use the teleportation, and Apperman was able to proxy push. Basically, what's great about this, right, is he knocked them down.
Vest. Oh,
if Nap doesn't TP back in, if he doesn't TP back in, the wave just gets pushed in, he loses another wave for his time.
Yeah, I mean, he lost half a wave to turret. He's down 20 CS right now, depending on how he farms up this wave. Mordekaiser gets to back and pick up a Bramble Vest to longsword. Remember, Mordekaiser can pick up 5 cloth armors early on in the game. He can go Tabi. He can go Seeker's Arm Guard. He can go Bramble Vest. That is just so much armor versus this Wukong. And yeah, he gets 30% armor shot on the Crushing Blow from his Q, but that is it, or rather, Nimbus Strike, I believe, is the one No,
I think it is.
Crushing Blow is Crushing Blow, if I remember correctly. Nimbus Strike is the E that stands him forward on the cloud. Very Sengoku style. Go double check that in a second to make sure.
I mean, it's all Journey to the West, so it's all.
Yeah, absolutely is.
It's all based on the same thing. Really, Journey to the West is something I really feel like I need to read up more about. As a child, I literally maybe one of the greatest epics from what I understand. The amount it's inspired that I didn't realize.
Wait, sorry to interrupt. Ari's hit level 6 and doesn't have his ultimate. I think he's messed up and leveled the wrong ability.
No. So he's not leveled anything up. This is an Echo thing that used to be done by Echo mains way back when. So if you actually level up your ult, it actually shows your path. But what you can do is you can not level up your ult, press it whenever you need to press it, and you'll just go back to where you know. So really good Echo players can just know where their path was. They don't basically have a virtual ghost, and it doesn't show your opponent. In professional play,
you can keep it.
Yeah.
See, well, that's good to know. Right, okay.
Once
so there I was thinking,
he will level it up, obviously. So looks like he's not leveled it up yet, because he could just level up a different ability and just keep having the passive going of, I don't need to level up my ult until I need my ult.
Yeah, he's gonna trust his abilities and fast fingers to level up and then press that R button and keep that.
Man, I felt like a real color commentator giving me
that's good.
knowledge for one.
I see the thought, at least. It makes sense in the grand scheme of things. CGA did pick up an early dragon with the Graves go over the wall, but actually this Silas is out to a big early CS lead versus this Graves, and it is about 1,000 gold lead off lane again for Sengoku Gaming. They do this so often, Lexi.
Yeah, and they do. And the part of the reason is Pyrion is able to just force push the lane, get a bit of poke onto Arya, and then just roam somewhere. And then Arya's just like, panic, have to clear ward, have to do X, Y, and Z. This whole time, Apperman is also just AFK pushing. Bot lane is totally fine because Yutoni he already has his cleanse back up. So Blank's just been given free time to just farm up and become more powerful. He's already got his ultimate, and now he's looking for
Yeah, he's stolen that Ash arrow. He's going to get flashed away from by Gango. Now Blank's in a bit spot of bother, but the curtain call is here. Blank goes in, gets healing, but does go down to first blood. Enti now flashing out, trying to find some more, but this is being turned around by CGA. Arya gets a second as he turns up. He has still not leveled his ult because he just doesn't damn well need it. That will be a lot burned, but it is 2 dead on the side of Sengoku, who looked for an engage and did not get it. Great flash by Gango to avoid Blank coming in.
It does feel really weird not to see an Echo with an ult following him, even though I know the reason why. I'm like, oh, I want it. Okay, so let's have a look at this replay. Blank gets a really nice ult steal here, misses the dash, the grab. Oh god, so much was missed by multiple members of Sengoku
that
here.
Flash,
actually,
man, it just dodges everything with one press.
Okay, obviously the TP came in from Arya, just helps clean up this one, and we know Pyrion gets away here. Wow. Okay. That was kind of dirty, honestly, by CGA. They just landed they just got one flash, and apparently that threw Sengoku through such a loop. They were just like, well, we're going to miss everything now. All the curtain calls are gone, even though Yutoni Machi's played it 4 times. Looks like we're going to get a Herald Dance.
Round 2, let's fight. Blank has a 2-level advantage over the opposite number, but now Sengoku Gaming are being forced to retreat. Pyrion flies away because it is 5 men strong for CGA here. Blank has got a Wukong ult. He burns it. The Cyclone is down, but that is a Semite secure by Unica, and they will get to walk away with the prize of the Herald.
Yeah, and
look onto Blank. They're thinking about this?
Maybe.
No, Blank's going forward. He's still got the second cast of the Wukong ult. That is the parallel conversions. Golden goes Grendel, but now Blank in the backline is burning a lot of time. Goes over the wall. Arya kills Enti, though. And Sengoku Gaming, what the hell is this? This is 2 fights you have started, which have gone horribly wrong. Arya finally gets to pull off the chrono break. Now has used it. But in the death realm with Apperman is the Echo. Does manage to escape for now. And now Apperman is caught in the middle of nowhere. Nap going forwards. Apperman's still low. There is no death rising, but there is a flash. And that 4th bullet does a lot of damage to Nap, but no kills to be found. 4-0 CGA on the day. And now they have the gold lead.
Okay, so Sengoku can't team fight at the moment, apparently, is just what I'm learning.
Can't. Lots of low health members. They've got to be super damn careful. 4th bullet. Oh, that's a very dead Thresh.
It was figure out who we want to die here. And who's better to die? Well, Grendel, sadly. You're the support, mate. You die for your carry. Your carry needs experience. Your carry needs farm. And also, killing them is just sad. Don't let your support die. Well, don't let your AD carry die. Grendel is also 3-0 on his Thresh this split, so he's looking pretty promising on this Thresh. This is a time they need to look promising, as we do get that first comes in. Blank is able to steal it. I do get an answer to a response I was wondering about Wukong's ult. Do you get both sides of it? You do, apparently, when you steal it, which is good to know. He then eats it, so that doesn't matter. Arya gets taken super low, levels up his ultimate, and then just goes back to where he was expecting. He is in the death realm, but because of how Echo works. He's just so tanky through his stats. Comes out of the death realm, and then Mordekaiser just eats it. And
we're back in, and CGA have got 2 kills out of nowhere. The bot lane kind of fell apart. Blank got a kill down there, and CGA turn it around for one of the top lanes.
Gango's dead. What?
Yeah, so Gango died somehow, some way. It looks like Blank got on top of him by the looks of it. Maybe we'll get a replay of that, which we missed in the replay. And while that's happening, Blank will now start up this Infernal Drake. And that is now even Stevens in the goal. That'll be the Herald charge in top to turn that around. Attempted steal with the death sentence, but now Blank is hunting for more Grendel. That was really greedy, but here comes Yutori Mayashi. It's only 3 versus 1. And Yutori Mayashi will claim a kill on Thresh. The Warden is down. And this particular inmate finds something here. Cleanse is not available for Yutori Mayashi, who now has to flash. Arya was looking for more, but empty body block did not want to get rooted in place. And that will be another kill to Sengoku Gaming. Alright, so, I was about to say, CJ at 4-0, got the early Dragon, got the early Herald. We're still barely ahead in gold because Sengoku Gaming have been laning so well. And then suddenly it's right back to even because we come back into a bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a CGA game. Are you really that surprised? it's
no,
the
I am
nature
not.
of the script. Like, that's how it works.
All right, 100 gold lead here at 13 minutes into the game.
It is absolutely nothing.
Like, okay, here's the replay. What happens to Gango? Right. He throws the hook shot the wrong way. Easy as you like.
Look at Pyrian running and going, okay, I guess I won't. And then we already got to see this of Appamen just eating it from just good ult combination with a smoke screen. Just Appamen things, I guess. Yeah. And also Grendel there just giving no respect to Yutori Mayashi, just chilling, pushing mid lane. He's like, I'm going to steal this dragon. Mate, the AD carry who can literally stun you just chilling.
So, something else to point out here. CJ got the first turret and all plate. Had 4 kills, 5 kills to 3 right now. And are even in gold. Do you know why? It is 30 CS lead in the mid lane. It is 30 CS lead in the jungle where those camps mean more.
It is
30 CS in the top lane. And 20 to 10 in the bot. That is absurd laning stats.
I'm going to agree for the 6th time in a row. It's absurd. Every member of the side of Sengoku is just doing exactly what they need to do. Oh my god, also the turret plate. It doesn't matter if you get first turret because Sengoku had more plating gold as well.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. This is why the kills doesn't matter. This is why first blood doesn't matter, because you're Sengoku and you're just going to farm effectively and you're not going to play CGA's game, except you are going to play their game, but your way of playing whatever, let's just figure out who scales better. I'm going to say CGA, I guess, because they got Ashe, but then I like you. I like Jin.
Spot a bother here. Nap's going to be spotted. The 4th bullet is still available. Just slow him down. Has got flash. Has got to burn it, but gets hit by the dredge line. The abscond abduct does not land, but the exhaust comes down and Blanks gets a kill. Nap put in the dirt again for the first time. That has been struggling a little in lane. Remember that early proxy farming from Appamen into the game. CGA will get free time in the mid lane to try and shove that turret down, but Appamen will likely get the turret in the top side while it's happening. And Sengoku Gaming looking to come into mid lane. Pyrian and Arya trading in the bot lane river, and the action never stops. Here we go again. Unica's in a spot of bother. They want to fight this to CJ, but they're going to get teleported in. This isn't really the best position. The showstopper's coming out, and that is a very dead Gango who gets lanterned into the darkness rising from Appamen, who's now into the death realm with Arya, who uses the parallel convergence and the chrono break at the top end of the fight. Nap will go down for the 2nd time this game, and Sengoku Gaming run away with that fight. That was a hugely aggressive play onto the mid lane by CGA, and they are aptly punished.
I love that Grendel basically baited Gango with the lantern, but he was already dead if he stayed where he was anyway, so I just really appreciate the lantern into the death part. It kind of fits with...
It's not done. It's not done. That's the Graves ult looking for the collateral damage, and the burn was not enough. My days, Unica survives on sub 10 HP there.
And Unica, in all fairness to him, is actually having a pretty good game. He's currently 2-0-3, and he's finding a lot of picks and spots that just aren't expected. This is a player that is coming in brand new, fresh, remember, for this team. This is his first split with them. Having a solid game so far, and he's a player that's been really developing. All right, okay, so Arya and Pyrian are just fighting onto the side. Doesn't really change. It's what they've been doing this whole game anyway. Mid tower does go down, but boom. into the middle. He lands the lantern and then just dies to Apperman anyway. It was just kill transfer, I guess. Arya can't do much, and then we see Nap coming into a TP where the rest of his team just can't do anything because they're getting zoned by Apperman and Blank. And then Grendel just has to flash away. I believe Grendel does get out through all of that. Or did he not? I can't remember. It's so long ago. Look at that roller coaster, though.
Well, yeah, CJ at an early advantage. It's now gone absolutely the other way. And Blank, who was 0-2-0, is now 2-2-1. He has been up in farm the whole game. Unique has been doing well, but Blank is starting to get really terrifying. He is 2 levels up on that grave. He is equal level with the Wukong on the other side. That is not a good sign if you're CGA.
I mean, Yutorimashi is even with Arya. Like that.
Yeah.
Dual laners are now the same level as solo laners, and Pyrion is just a level above everybody else.
0-2 on that Jhin, right? Look at that. Oh.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of tanks to tank. There's not a lot of tanks to deal with the burst of Jhin either. You got Wukong, I suppose, is kind of tanky. Thresh can build a Gargoyle Stoneblade, and that's something, but that's not true tank.
No, it's not.
Could be pretty terrifying. And to be honest, I would have been a bit worried about Sengoku Gaming if the game got super late. They're not that high on damage, all things said and done. They've got Silas, which is pretty good, and Jin's got good burst, but, you know, Mordekaiser set, not the highest DPS characters in the game. At this rate, though, I think it's not ever going to get to that point, and this Jhin is going to hit late game few crit items specific. Early enough into this game to be a terror.
Yeah, thankfully, I don't think we're going to be having the 42-minute fiesta that we had last time from these two teams. I think this is going to be far more of a cleaner game. We are on a mountain rift, and this is actually a rift, or soul rather, that, well, if it went in Sengoku's favor, does hugely favor them moving forward. It just allows them to just stay far more aggressive onto the side of CGA. It's also a soul that Sengoku wouldn't actually very much like CGA to have. It would new to Jhin and what he does for this team at the moment. Having additional stats for himself and having the enemy team only having an air Drake, which, let's be real, is pretty negligible at a lot of points in the game. 10% is nice cooldown reduction on your ultimate, but it's not going to be critical. It's nice for an Ashe, relatively speaking, and an Echo, who do have longer ultimates, but it's the kind of thing where you're like, that's nice. Herald is dropped in this mid lane, though.
Only earns half the HP bar on that turret, but still not bad. And Grendel gets to steal with the death sentence eventually. Finds that red buff steal, which is a bit of a coup there. Arya takes an obliterate to the face after the Death's Grasp land, and that's a bit sad for the Echo. Apperman continuing to shove in on this Mordekaiser. A lot harder to stop Apperman doing Apperman things in a side lane if anytime you try to 3v1 him, he turns it into a 1v1 with a Death Realm.
I mean, that's kind of the idea of what Apperman is doing on this champion. It's like you're saying, CGA, be wary. Mord is on the rift. It's like, bugger. And he's got, and his TP's going to be up soon. What do we do, lads? He also hasn't been a sinner, which will get a lot of brownie points, I imagine. Not getting that Morello, getting a Leandri's, really important. And now Apperman is actually leading the XP race, and well, Sengoku, Arya, Sengoku, and then NT. I love this. Sometimes when you see a team far outperform the other, especially in experience, normally their support will also be at the very bottom because they're just never with any of their team. They're just like, I gotta run around and ward, lads. I gotta keep us ahead.
Well, the 1-3-1. The 1-3-1 is set up for Sengoku Gaming. They've got Pyrion in one side, they've got Apperman in the other. Those are some very tanky boys who are quite hard to take down in XV1 scenarios in the side lanes. And there are Jhin traps everywhere in the mid lane. Like, you're trying to gank the Jhin, well, you walked on a trap and you feel really sad about yourself.
They just sweeped a bunch, and then they still only found 2 of the 4 that were chilling in that mid lane. That's aggressive. We can see NT, Blank, and Yutorimashi all kind of sing around. They might just start this Baron. We've seen some pretty fast Barons. This is not a team that would take Baron supremely fast. No. It's definitely an option for them, and they should think about at least something. Maybe they're just going to look for a pick over the next minute 30 as they're going to be going for this Mountain Drake when it pops up. So they just want to try to do something. Guys, you got a pink ward there. You know that they can't see you. They're just doing vague vision finding, and there we go.
Another pink ward invalidates both wards that CJ managed to get over the side. And of course, Sengoku Gaming do not take Baron very fast with Jin is your AD carry. He's not a very good, or well, rather very fast objective taker is probably the way to
You'd
put
have
it.
to yell at Gango to try and help you do it. I think your chances in getting it fast would probably double in speed.
That said, they are very tanky, so it's not like they could definitely do it. It would just be damn slow.
Yes,
So,
that's true. Yeah, I mean, with Mordekaiser, Silas, Set, and Nautilus, they've got some tank over on their side, especially, well, I guess, necessarily speaking, Silas isn't tanky, he just regains the health so damn quickly. I get the perception that half the time that he's tanky. He's not, he just Kingslayers his way back up to full health, and I'm like, why are you full again? And Mordekaiser is just kind of built-in tankiness, necessarily, because of his stats, and he's also just he's already got a Bramble Vest, right? He's going to be pretty good against most of the lineup of CJ outside of that Echo.
Well, with the Baron bait finished for now, and the Mountain Drake about to spawn in 13 seconds, Sengoku Gaming send their squad over to the red side jungle of CGA to buy themselves some control. There is the one blue wall that Utomashi is currently on top of, but aside from that, River is very, very dark for CGA right now.
And as you can see, they already pinked it to see and have a gander of what's going on. Nothing was there. So Blank's just like, all right, I guess they're not fighting us for this dragon. We'll take it for free. And yeah, the members of CJ are currently recalling back to their base because they're more interested in getting Baron Vision than a dragon that just came up that they could legitimately fight over as Appamen just AFK farms bot lane. What is going on?
Well, there's a teleport coming in,
What?
but it's going to try and come in behind Appamen, but you are ganking the Mordekaiser, remember, the Death Realm is available. It has been used. Nap now running away. Appamen caught on a side lane, but here comes Pyrian. He gets a good face breaker. Death Realm is now over, and the gank is ended, but not before the curtain call comes out. But sadly for us, there was no end credit scene, and Sengoku Gaming don't come away with a kill, trying to turn around that play. All the while, though, the mid-turret tier 2 did fall, and Pyrian has got a lot of speed. He flashes in for the facebreaker and forces a flash out of Unica in result. Bot lane tier 2 does not quite fall. Now Gango gets the ult onto Pyrian, who puts a haymaker down. Will go back with the showstopper, but it is a shutdown for Nap. Great flash hook to follow up on the arrow, and that is a big turnaround for CGA, who now 5v4 on the map.
They needed that, but part of my concern and problem is, one, that bot turret is only about 5-6. Well, it's a wave away from just falling, relatively speaking. If any of the members outside of NT, oh well, there we go. I was saying it's a wave away, and then Appamen just literally destroys it. They also lost the mid turret. There was a lot of gold that just went over to Sengoku that that CJ didn't fight, but this Baron started up initialize.
It is, and Blank had to back because he had no HP, and that means that it is a 5v3. Make that actually a 5v2 right now because, of course, Pyrian is still dead. CJ actually have to pull off Baron, don't quite have the damage they wanted to try and take, and just too squishy. Nice idea from CJ to try and use their numbers advantage and try and get themselves into a bit more of a position into this game, but can't pull it off, and even if Arya is at 2-0-0, got himself a Proto Belt, got himself a Lichbane, who does he rightly blow up at this point? Jin, I guess, if he can find his way into the backline, but that's your option right now.
Pretty much only Jin. Does any member of CJ have Ignite? Okay, if Grendel lands an Ignite onto Blank as well, he can probably blow up Blank pretty quickly. Assuming he doesn't
stopwatch there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's the only other member over on the side of Sengoku that I think he could maybe kill pretty quickly.
Bit of a fight going on here. They found a pick onto Pyrian thus far, but he's very tanky. Ash Arrow has now been burnt. They're going to look for a little bit more. That is a hook, but the curtain call coming out as well. Showstopper back. Nap's now in trouble, but the Cyclone still running. It was the clone that was Showstopper. Enti flashing away. Arya going forwards. Can't quite secure the kill, and the Death Sentence doesn't miss. Or doesn't land, I apologize. And Death Realmed is Unica, who's trying to dance, trying to survive, but it's the end of the line for Graves. And now Appamen steps forward, and it's death in his eyes. Can't quite find the kill onto Nap. He's got a massive shield, and Indestructible has never felt more apt. He gets 3 in that fight, and that Mordekaiser is looking to break a little bit more of CGA. Huge fight for Appamen.
I would love to hear the comms there, because I don't understand how Appamen was running after I believe Unica. No, he was running off the nap. He was running off the nap. And then the rest of the members were just like, but Arya and Gango just walked in behind, and then Abaman just turned around and was like, I guess I'll just kill you both? What is going on over in CGA? They're just all over the place at the moment. Well played, though, in credit to Sengoku. They layered a lot of their CC really well. And he just doesn't want to die even on 300 HP. They secured this Baron. Dragon's up in 1 minute. All right, this is what I was wanted. So Perion takes so much CC, already eats that Ash ult. It's important to note, that Ash ult isn't going to be up for the rest of this fight moving forward. Nat also very quickly uses his ult. Again, hasn't found anything. Blank flashes with his curtain call. Look at that curtain call. Last hit actually goes back. And when Arya goes back, he's still already lost that HP. That last curtain call hit. Watch this. Appaman throws Unica into this death realm, preventing him from running into Enti, which is something he was doing. So watch this now. This is really confusing. So Nap's running away, and watch Gango and Arya here. So they just walk back into him, and he's just like, I guess I'm just here. They just didn't respect the pathing. The Mordekaiser very face
hook lands.
Oh, God.
Gonna have to pull yourself out, because now CJ in trouble. That's a massive face breaker, and the cyclone that follows. Pyrion gets one, Blank gets another, and CGA look for a fight, and they regret it immediately. Nap's clone is once again targeted. I feel like that's happened far too often for Sengoku's taste, but they still walk away with 2. They will have the Mountain Drake spawning in 5 seconds, and they're gonna push in with the Baron buff. They've already broken this mid-tier 3, courtesy of Appaman, and they will get everything in that last exchange.
Yeah, and Appaman's also just AFK pushing this bot lane. They're probably going to look and rotate and assist him round, and one member's going to have to at least go and help with this dragon, as they want to get it before Unica does get up, which is in now. Actually, it was a few seconds ago, so it's fine. Looks like Appaman is actually going to solo this, and they actually want to be a little bit safer. I don't blame them. They just got the open inhibitor, they push them, they're getting a bunch of kills for their time, and most importantly, this Dragon Soul, which is going to make all members, especially Pyrion, who seems to just always be in the middle of every team fight, so much more tankier now. This set isn't going to die, and Pyrion's having a phenomenal performance. In all fairness to him, outside of every other member of Sengoku, playing really well, especially coming into this mid to late game.
Absolutely. Appaman now again in a 2v1. Make that a 3v1 with a teleport, with the Death Realm. It's down. It's Grendel in there. That Thresh has no chance. It's still a 3v1, but Appaman is so damn tanky. He's not fallen yet. He goes golden. The Time Winder buys time, and finally, they shut him down, but they made him work for it. Now, Unica trying to trade with Pyrion, but he's down a number of levels, gets knocked back with the Showstopper. There's the Face Breaker, the Haymaker. Knuckle down is down, so there will not be any further chase, and they will prevent too much more of a push going on. CGA finally bring down the raid boss, but it was a 1-for-1, and it was still not looking all that, well, wasn't looking all that secure, I think is where we'll put that at the end of that.
I'd absolutely agree with you, Initialize. This is just Sengoku having the most amount of fun in a game of League of Legends that you can possibly have, especially for Appaman.
Grendel's gone in. That's onto Enti, who's super tanky, and Unica is taken down to no HP by Blank, who's trying to get that kill as secured. It wasn't quite done, but he's still dancing around. Has got the blue pot running, and the curtain call is here. This is looking like they want the end credits showing. Gango burns heal, takes a full shot to the face, and a Haymaker true damage will obliterate the Ash thrown into the grey screen for one last time this game. Arya going forward, trying to save the game, but it is a 4th shot to the face, like a 4th bullet to the face from the curtain call that ended Ash, but it's still going. It's not ended. You saw him actually ends it with a Cyclone on top, but he's still alive. He gets to cleanse. Nap goes down to Pyrion, and the tanky members run over the back end of the fight. Blank dashes forward, and his one Nexus turret remaining. It's just a Thresh on the fountain, and there is no hope for CGA. They will move to 0 and 2. There's one kill onto Silas, who got flayed onto the base, but with this, Sengoku Gaming will secure 2nd place in the LJL Summer Split. CGA 0 and 2 will fall to 3rd. They lost to DFM, they lost to Sengoku, and they will be kicking themselves. It was all in their hands. They let it slip away.
And with that all said, we're gonna go and have a short break here so we can compose ourselves again. And then we're going to be with the analyst deck over with at 9 Mara. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. We just saw Sengoku take down Crest Gaming Act and gain control of their own future, at least towards that second seed spot. Going into playoffs, of course, they will have to go up against V3 later on to determine that. A tough matchup, but they did come out swinging. One person who came out swinging a bloody big mace was Apperman in the top side. He picked up the Mordekaiser for the second time this split, once again versus the Wukong, the first time taking down Ebby on his against DFM, this time against Nap, arguably an even better Wukong on CGA. Why was this important to this to this game, guys?
I mean, I think the most important thing we can do is just go do the coffin dance, because that's what Apperman was doing the whole time to CGA. Do. The death round was just always on point from Apperman. It was rarely never good. They aggressively dived him early on into this game, and then he just didn't care. He didn't die a single. Well, he only died one more time
in a 1v4 later or something.
Team came to kill him, so the rest of his team go, well, I guess we'll just force mid. Pyrian was like, I guess I'll run in and take one of their two base turrets. Like, Apperman was phenomenal this game. Honestly, wasn't he initialized?
Well, yeah, I think there's also just something to be said for Mordekaiser in general is great at breaking competitions apart. If you can pull someone out of a team fight into a 1v1, you can really break what other team comps want to do. Wukong is not a laning champion. Mordekaiser was winning lane. Hell, he was getting to proxy farm because he managed to force Nat back at an awful position.
Mate, I'm the color caster. I'm going to say the smart stuff. Don't take too many of the good points, all right?
Okay, well, I will give you another point after this. No, so carry on, Sam.
And then the other side of that, and then in the team fights, if you pull the Wukong out in the team fights, then Wukong doesn't get to ult. And if he's already kind of anemic and doesn't get to ult and do all that much in the back line, and hell, the opposing Silas gets to steal it and do just what you do, but better, then your team comp is in a really bad position to begin with.
And for someone we had a lot of questions about their effective champion pool, are they just an Aatrox kind of one trick with another couple of picks put in? This is a really good game for Apperman to show that he can step up and be one of the better top laners in the LJL on his game. Another person we were asking to step up in recent weeks, and actually across the split, given his performance in spring, was Yutori Mayashi in that bot lane carry position for Sengoku. Lexi, what did you make of his Jhin this game? Because we've seen a couple of games of it before. None of them have really matched up to this one, though.
We have. I must just add this, as I just found this out for Apperman. He had his highest damage per minute that game on the Mordekaiser.
That surprised me.
719 damage per minute on that.
Oh, that's so large.
That's very impressive on a Mordekaiser and a top laner as well.
Yeah. So I just saw that. I was like, that's his highest one of all split long. So I had to mention that. Yutori Mayashi on this Jhin was actually probably one of the safest games he's ever had on this Jhin. So commonly when people play Jhin or they see a Jhin against them, they're like, all right, we're just going to aggressively dive in. He has no escape tools built into him. You rely heavily on either supports like Thresh, who can just get you out, or someone like Nautilus, who can basically throw so much CC down, you get protected. Part of that was the Nautilus and NT assisting a lot in body blocking, something we've highlighted earlier. Body blocking was hugely important for
Nagi, this is how you do it.
Oh, NT had a masterclass on Nautilus body blocking. But not only that, he was able to come out to an early gold lead through 1 turret plates and 2 CS. He was just out CS'd aggressively here. The other part of this was his curtain calls. He was willing to just throw out the curtain call whenever and any time. Something that he wasn't doing at the beginning when he first started playing Jhin. But as the games have gone on, he is more than happy to just throw the ult down, happy to just get 2 shots. And if everyone's out of range, great, I zoned them. He's doing great zoning. I can't wait to see more of him playing it, and I'm not surprised he's played it more than any other champion at the moment.
And we had criticized his ults before, and then to see him open up and rip through Grendel under the mid lane out of turret to get that kill, when you were just saying, it's like, oh wow, we actually have to decide which one of us dies, because that 4th shot is going to hit one of us, and Grendel just takes, he literally bites the bullet for his AD carry.
He was the body man, he was the bodyguard.
And like, remember guys as well, that this was after Yutori Mayashi burnt Cleanse at level 1 in the river.
That's right.
That should have been an absolutely rough laning phase. You saw Grendel aggressively stepping forward in the lane to try and land that death sentence to really put the pressure down on. Misses the death sentence, gets traded back onto instead, and then they lose the laning phase partly from that.
And this is a pick which Grendel was 3-0 on this split. I think actually his Thresh has been one of his more measured champions as opposed to the ones where he can walk up a bit too far and get caught out. So for Sengoku's bot lane to really punish him, that's a really big thing. And speaking of punishing, we do need to have a quick word about both Unica and Gango. Sam, I know you wanted to take this point, you brought it up. They had some leads, they did not last in this game.
Right, so we saw Unica go in for the early red buff steal. Fantastic news. Silas still manages to get to the Skull Crab that Unica came to try and stop him at. He gets out, he burns his flash, and then stays ahead and camps the entire way through. He stays ahead so far in camps that he is up 30 CS in the jungle. He was up 2 levels in the jungle, level 7 to level 5 at one point, which is pretty damn absurd. Bluntly, the fact that CGA started the game, 4 kills to none, got first turret and all plates, and was still down in gold, tells you a lot about where those early CS leads were. The entire side of Sengoku Gaming was up 20 to 30 CS from the early game.
And that is something which they are going to have to really get on lock, because going into playoffs in a best of 5, it's those kind of leads which can end up losing you games which would normally be a surefire win and get you 1-0 or 2-0 or just lose a series outright. And of course, that is what we're all aiming towards. It is that playoffs now. This is the last week of regular season. Time to put up or shut up. And CJ were put down by 2 games in a row.
3 now.
3 in a row, of course.
3.
We lost to Axis as well, but in this last week, going a 0-2 week for them, being a second-place team is really quite something. And the real death knell was that Baron dance, where Pyrion had a great escape with his ultimate after so much damage was put into him. Escapes on about 400, 500 HP, which sounds like quite a lot, but then you realize he's a set, and that's like a 10th of his HP bar. And then also Appman gets a triple kill out of nowhere. Lexi, tell me what happened there. How did it happen? How'd it go?
So... NT also got out on like 50 HP in that all of that as well. Yeah. So it was kind of an absurd one. Sengoku did definitely tiptoe the line of madness and getting a little bit lucky, but they all got out, so it was okay. The big one was Appamen throughout all of this fight. He, one, was able to zone off Blank, and at the same time Appamen. He then ran around, put Appamen in the Death Realm, followed him around, promptly wasn't able to catch him because, well, Wukong's pretty hard to keep up with. So, all right. He then turns around and then Arya and Gango are just like, hey guys, let's go back into our jungle. Oh no. And then Mordekaiser are like 1,000-foot tall, literally like a titan, just like Q combos both of them and just kills them both. And then the whole fight's over. They then take the Baron. And I'm paraphrasing a lot of this fight. Blank was hugely important in this fight, especially with the ult that he stole. I believe it was the Ashe ult he stole throughout this fight. They also aggressive. Well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that was another fight, but that was also really important. Also, a part of this problem, Crest Gaming just blew 3 of their ultimates trying to kill Pyrion. But what are you doing, guys?
The tank set, he's got Deadman's Plate and a Sunfire, and he has no mundos to give.
And Yutorimashi had a really good Jhin ult as well, zoning out, and also putting a lot of damage onto Arya before he actually is going to jump back on that Echo. Having 300-400 health on this mid lane Echo gone before you start, actually when you come back after your Echo ult, huge disappointment. Sengoku played it pretty flawlessly in a sense.
Flawless from Sengoku in so many ways, and it is the W they needed to regain control of their own seeding destiny. At worst now, it will be a tiebreaker for that second place spot. At best, it is completely theirs, and they will be sealed into that juggernaut match at the top of the table. We do have one more game to bring you, and it will come at you, though, right after this break.